The 5 most proven quick-witted techniques that will always have an answer to every stupid comment. You will find a concentrated load of important information here, so it is advisable to watch the video until the end. This is the only way you can skillfully reply to every stupid joke in the future. In order to be able to use the techniques in the best possible way, you need a little prior knowledge. Obviously, for a response to count as quick-witted, it must follow the attack quickly. The rule is, less than 3 seconds. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how clever your answer is. Due to the long break, it no longer has any clout. In addition, the answer must be accurate, that is, tailored to the attack. A standard answer learned by heart is therefore not sufficient. Luckily you don't need them either because you will learn some powerful techniques in this video. In addition to these content-related criteria, it is also crucial how you give the answer. If you say your counter remark confidently and with a good deal of self-confidence, you automatically reinforce any quick-wittedness technique. Actually, that's pretty easy too. Pay attention to the following things. Eye contact. Do not avert your gaze, but look the other person in the eye. Otherwise it seems embarrassed or submissive. Attitude. A chin down appears submissive, a chin up arrogant. Therefore, bring your head to a neutral position, look straight ahead. This exudes sovereignty and self-confidence. Avoid embarrassed sounds like, Silence until you have a clever answer is better. You can also just put on a look like you already have an answer, while you're still pondering. And very important, pay attention to a loud and firm voice. And those were the main points that you should consider. Now to the last point before going into the concrete quick-wittedness techniques. Composure. Surely you know that too. Someone throws a stupid joke at you and of course you're angry, but unfortunately you can't think of a clever answer. When you lie in bed at night and have worked yourself off again, the perfect counterattack suddenly comes to mind. But obviously it's far too late. The problem is that when someone attacks or insults us, we usually react emotionally. Feelings like anger, fear, shame, even hate come up. And that's problematic. This is because these emotions impair our ability to think, thereby preventing us from coming up with a clever answer. There are 2 approaches to keeping these emotions under control. Firstly, finding the cause of these emotions. Do we feel attacked by a comment because there is actually a grain of truth in it? Does the other person make fun of something that bothers us about ourselves, for example that we've overweight or don't have enough muscles? Then we either have to change it or accept it. This is the only way we will be immune to mocking comments on this topic in the future and can thus keep a clear head. This makes it much easier to quickly come up with the perfect counterattack. On the other hand, it helps enormously to approach things with a little humor. Often the other person doesn't mean it badly at all, or has problems himself that he has to take out on his fellow human beings. As a rule, it is not worth getting upset about a few words at all. With this attitude, you have much better control over your emotions and can throw a great counterattack with a clear mind. Now we come to the concrete quick-wittedness techniques. These can essentially be divided into 2 categories, hard repartee, which is more aggressive and hurtful, and soft repartee, the more diplomatic route. Whether you prefer to use hard or soft repartee in a certain situation is of course up to you. However, you should consider a few basic things before doing so. In what hierarchical relationship do you stand to the person? Of course, you shouldn't hit your boss, supervisor or teacher with such a counterattack, because that can obviously quickly lead to problems. Of course, this also applies in general to people with whom you want to do business or with whom you have to work every day. So the diplomatic way with soft repartee is recommended here. It's different when you're out with friends. Hard repartee is often quite entertaining here and can increase your social status. You can also deal with people you never see again, or want to see, with tough repartee. Now for my favorite technique of all time, exaggerations. Let's say someone throws a silly thing at you, like, your car is bloody dirty. Then you don't have to justify yourself and find any explanations why you haven't made it to the car wash lately. Instead, you can take the criticism and exaggerate it by responding, for example, you think my car is dirty? Then you should see my apartment first. This technique is great because it's pretty sure to put a smile on your counterpart's face and ease a tense situation. In addition, it even has a sympathetic effect. We just like people with a sense of humor. However, this is more of an advanced technique that will take some practice. After all, you have to come up with such a clever answer within a few seconds. The next technique is very beginner friendly for this. The tit for tat, just reverse the attack. This technique is always good if you don't want to let your opponent get away with it. Children often use this in a very simplistic form. One says to the other, "Man, you are so stupid," which then usually comes, "No, you are stupid." Not the worst answer, but not the best either. Among adults, the dialogue could then look more like this: "Your presentation was completely incomprehensible." It might seem that way from your perspective because you obviously lack the intellect needed to understand it more deeply. Again, the method is ideal when you really want to smack the other person, but you should probably be better off with your boss. Forgo the tit for tat. Here, for example, you can use the just because technique. It's basically quite simple, since you always start your answer with just because. The idea is to take up the accusation of the other and to reinterpret it into something positive, to represent a disadvantage as an advantage. Let's stick with the previous example. Your boss reproaches you and says something like, "But you took your time with this task." Then you could reply, "Precisely, just because I took my time, I was able to complete the task extremely thoroughly and conscientiously." The method is particularly suitable if you are already expecting a certain accusation and have previously thought about a halfway suitable answer. The surprising agreement. Why always justify? Instead of defending yourself, you simply agree with your counterpart and thus take away the basis for further criticism. If someone wants to provoke you and responds to a mistake, "You were pretty unsure about your presentation at the beginning, huh?" Then you can casually respond, "Yes, exactly, I noticed that too." And thus remove the ground for further attacks from the other person. The method is pretty simple because all you have to do is agree. However, it is extremely important here that you appear very self-confident. The answer must be in a firm and loud voice. In addition, you must never look bashfully to the side, otherwise you will signal that you are vulnerable here. Let's move on to the last technique for this video, the help technique. This method is really great because you always win no matter what. If someone criticizes you, just ask them for help. This sounds nice at first, but it's actually pretty nasty, since you can often expose the attacker with it. Let's say you talk about something that didn't work out and now a neutral says, "But I would have done everything much better." Then you can counter, "Really? How exactly would you have done better?" There are 3 possible scenarios here. First, he has no solution at all and looks pretty stupid. Secondly, he has a mediocre solution that you can attack and criticize in return. Third, he has a really good solution. Then you can say thank you and still win because you now have a better solution. A really great technique. That's all, folks. If you liked this video, please give us a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell to stay up to date. Until next time. At MindSword.